So you're thinking of moving to Brooksville, Florida, but you don't know enough about the area to make a decision. Well, settle down and grab your popcorn because I'm going to give you the most extensive map overview of Brooksville, Florida that's available. We're going to take a look at the neighborhoods to live. We're going to take a look at some of the shops, the restaurants, the breweries, the things to do around town. Take a look at where it's at in relation to Orlando and Tampa and give you some local secrets as a Brooksville resident myself. So settle down, let's jump into the video. All right, guys, so here is the map of Brooksville. And what I want to do first of all is just take a zoom out and see where is it in relation to some of the surrounding areas. So you can see that Tampa is down here to the south, basically exactly due south, and Orlando is totally to the east. Now, Tampa from downtown Brooksville is going to be about 45 to 50 minutes. So you can either go across 50 and down 75 onto 275 through Wesley Chapel. That's probably not the best route. Unless I'm going to Wesley Chapel, that's not the route that I'm going to take. The easier route, depending on where you are in Brooksville, is probably going to be to get onto the Suncoast Expressway, the 589, and take that all the way down. And that will dead end pretty much at Tampa Airport. So those are going to be the best ways to get to Tampa. As far as getting to Orlando, it's basically a straight shot across 50. That's going to be the best way to get there. And that's going to get you there in about an hour and 15, hour and 20 minutes for the most part. So again, pretty conveniently located. And the other thing is it's only about 20 minutes away from Hernando Beach, which is right on the Gulf of Mexico. And that's going to give you all of the water activities that you could ever hope to find. So that's really, really cool as well. So as we zoom in a little bit here, let's see what Brooksville is all about and get a better feel for some of the stores, some of the areas you might want to live, the restaurants, some of the surrounding amenities. This is actually where I live at the moment, so I know it very, very well, and I'm excited to share this with you. Now, Brooksville has about 12,000 residents, give or take, and the cool thing about Brooksville, in my opinion, is that the downtown area is totally walkable. So you can already see here some restaurants scattered around on the map here. I actually live right here. And we love walking to the restaurants and the bars and the coffee shops downtown. So Mountaineer Coffee is the hot coffee spot in town. That's going to be right here. We also love going to the bistro. We actually had our wedding reception there. So that was really cool. It's a special place for us. Florida Cracker Kitchen and Florida Tap Room, as well as Mally Kyler's and the Tea Room are all right here. So again, totally walkable. Main Street Eatery is right in here. Broad Street Brewing, which is the new brewery that just opened up in town, is right here. So some really, really cool places downtown. It's a real old school, old Americana feel in downtown Brooksville. And that's really hard to find in Florida. You know, for the most part in Florida, you're going to be having to hop in the car and drive from strip mall to strip mall. And so having a place where you can park the car up and have a truly walkable downtown, that might be something you're used to if you're from somewhere else other than Florida and you're in one of those either big cities or old small towns. But it is difficult to find in Florida. So that's one of the things that particularly for our locality makes it really, really unique. And it's one of the things that really drew us to the area. We have 3 kids. So to be able to ride the bikes to the coffee shop or walk down to the Bread Box Bakery, that's a big deal for us. To be able to walk to the food truck event or Friday Night Live in the park and have entertainment on our doorstep is another big deal. So definitely we don't take that for granted. It's really, really special and we love it. And so it's a big deal for us, the fact that it's walkable downtown. So first thing I want to talk about is some of the historic areas of Brooksville. This is where you're going to find the old brick-lined streets, some of the hanging moss trees, some of the homes that were built in the late 1800s, but still stand a test of time. And they look sometimes really out of place in Florida. But God, they're such beautiful areas. So in particular here, I'm talking about Olive Street and Irene Street. I'm talking about Mount Fair over here. I'm talking about South Brooksville Ave. These are really, really just gorgeous, gorgeous old areas. The homes here are like a dream, and I wish we were able to pick one of them up, but they come on the market so infrequently that we just weren't able to at the time that we moved. But some really, really gorgeous places there. And if you're looking for something that's a little bit more historical
and just a little step away from the norm, then that's going to be these areas here. And of course, they're right walkable close to downtown as well. So the historic areas, there's only about 300 homes in what I would call the historic area. They're going to range anywhere from, if you find some of the really, really small homes, probably around 275, 300. That's going to be a 2-bedroom, 1-bath, all the way up to $1 million plus for some of those, like I said, 2-story old colonial style homes built in the late 1800s. There's a gorgeous one on Irene Street that just sold for just under $1 million. So the price points are very, very varied there. So if it's something that you want, you're likely going to find something that fits your budget eventually. But like I said, they don't come up very often there at all. Now, these are typically larger lots, typically larger homes. There are some small ones, but not very many of them. And the other thing to note is that because they are older homes, some of them have not been through that renovation process. So they're going to need updated plumbing, updated electric, the cost of which can really run away with you. And then some of the older homes are deeded historic homes by the city of Brooksville. So you have to get special permission to do certain updates to the property. They have to be kept in the original style of the property. So it's not necessarily an easy thing to do. So you want to make sure that you look into all of that before you decide to purchase. Or, some of them have been renovated and are available on resale market, and it takes all of the stress out. But of course, there's a opportunity cost and a price to be paid for that. So just be aware of those things. So the second places I want to mention are just the areas in and around downtown. They're not necessarily in the historic district, but they are in what we would consider to be downtown Brooksville. So I'm talking about the areas out by Sunset, out here, some of these areas over here. Let me just draw on the map here to show you. So Sunset's going to be right by Hernando High. These areas out here, some of these areas in here, and then some of these areas a little bit further outside by Whiteway. So these are some areas that they're close to downtown. They're not necessarily in the historic district, and they're not those older historic homes. But again, the price point is going to be a little bit different. So you're going to get a little bit more bang for your buck in these areas, and you're going to find a little bit more variety in the home. So you're going to find, again, the smaller homes. You can certainly pick up inexpensive properties here, starting around 250 probably. They don't quite go up to the $1 million range for the most part in those areas. You're going to be capped out probably somewhere around 600,000, but those come up a lot more frequently. And you're still close enough to downtown where you can enjoy a lot of the trappings of living there or living close to there, but you're not right downtown. And so the other thing to note about living within the Brooksville city limits is that you are going to pay the city tax. So your property taxes are going to be around about 30% higher than if you were outside of city limits. And typically that means inside of the 34601 zip code. Not quite as straightforward as that, but that's a good barometer as to where you're going to be. So from here, let's take a look at some of the other areas that might be interesting to you. And again, I want to start here by going out to Dogwood Estates or Brooksville Country Club. So this is about 4 or 5 miles outside of downtown. And as the name suggests, it's going to be a golf course community. So this is really a cool golf course. They have some quarry holes in here, which are very picturesque, very, very famous locally. But of course, in living in a country club community, they do have a clubhouse in there, so you can take advantage of that. They have the restaurant, they have the community pool. Now, these homes here, again, are going to be on larger home sites, and they're built a little bit more in the modern style than you're going to find downtown. But they are gorgeous, gorgeous homes. And again, a mix of everything. It's funny because a lot of these streets are named after some of the old Brooksville families that live around us. But I really, really love this area. Again, this is a totally different feel to living downtown. If you're one of those golf course country club people, this might be for you. And then there's also Southern Hills, which I'm going to talk about in a minute. But I love this community. Like I said, the land here is beautiful. Some of the views from some of the lots are spectacular. The golf course is really, really cool, but you're really, really close to downtown still. So definitely check out Dogwood Estates, Brooksville Country Club, if that's your kind of speed. As far as the types of properties that you're going to find there, there's just under 1,000 homes. They're going to range from 1,600 square foot to 3,500 square foot plus. Again, not many over 3,500 square foot, but they are out there. Typically, those prices are going to range from 265 to around 700. So again, a big, big price spread there. If that's an area that you love, you're probably going to find a property in there at your price point if you hang around long enough. So again, it's not just high-end homes in there, even though it is a golf course community. There's a really good spread of prices, a really good spread of homes. Now, if acreage and land is something that you're looking for, Brooksville has that in abundance. So again, plenty of areas where you can find this. Really, one of my favorite areas is right off of Croom Road here, so very close to where we were just looking. So this is Croom Road here, and it extends way, way, way beyond what we're seeing here. Actually, it leads out to the Withlacoochee State Forest eventually. And then off of here on Weatherly, on Dempsey, there's some really, really gorgeous acreage. So again, it might just be an acre, it might be 2.5 acres, it might be 20, it might be 50, 100 acres. There are single family homes on there with outbuildings, barns, stables, and so on and so forth, or there are mobile manufactured homes on there. So again, really, really widespread. But I grew up in the West Country in England where it's basically farmland out there. So this for me feels a little bit like home, you know, driving around, seeing the rolling hills, seeing the acreage. Again, a little unusual for Florida. It's not necessarily what you think of. You might think of beaches. But this area around here has some beautiful topography, some rolling hills, and some really, really active agricultural areas. So very, very cool. The types of homes that you're going to find out there, again, widespread. Now, as for the types of homes you're going to find out there, again, it's going to be a widespread, right? But I've seen manufactured homes on an acre, acre and a half, starting around about 250, 275. I've seen, like I said, gorgeous, gorgeous properties, 3,000 square foot plus on 50 acres, which of course are going to be up into the millions. But again, depending on what your budget is, if you're looking for a little bit more laid back, slower pace, a little bit more land, but not out in the middle of nowhere, these might be some really, really good options for you. And then again, if you're looking for something like that, you might want to consider something north to the downtown area. So I've sold some beautiful acreage properties out here to some good friends of ours. Really anywhere in and around Brooksville, you can't go wrong. These just happen to be my two favorite areas for that. Okay, so let's change up a little bit and change pace. And let's look at something a little bit more, I don't know if you'd call it cookie cutter necessarily, but just something a little bit different. So this is out towards I-75. So if I zoom out the map here, this is downtown Brooksville. If you head east along 98, you're going to get outside of Brooksville, going to pass by Spring Lake Highway, which, by the way, there's also some gorgeous acreage out here and off of Powell Road. And then as you get out towards 75, you're going to find Hillendale, which is an area where they've got some newer homes towards the front of it. But an area that I prefer is actually out here, which is Sherman Hills Golf Club, and it's right by 75. So if access to Tampa is going to be important to you, or even going north towards Ocala, I-75 runs right by it. So you could not be closer as far as convenience goes to I-75. And they have some gorgeous homes in here. You know, you can pick up a beautiful 3-bedroom, 2-bath home, 1,500 square foot for $275 again. So again, if you're looking for something that's more of a, I'm going to say, golf course feel, close to 75, definitely consider Sherman Hills. It's an affordable price point. The homes are not really going to go up over 400,000 in here. Now they're a little bit more cookie cutter, a little bit more samey, but that's kind of typical Florida, and a lot of people are attracted to that. So definitely keep Sherman Hills on your list. Okay, now again, let's look a little bit outside of Brooksville, the downtown area, and see what we can come up with here, because there's a couple of areas that I want to share with you. So we're actually going to go the other way. We're going to go south out of Brooksville along US 41 here, and we're going to go to Southern Hills Plantation. Now, Southern Hills Plantation is really the premier golf course community, not only for Hernando County, but probably a couple of counties around. Now, if you're a golfer and you're avid about playing the best golf courses, you're probably going to heard of a guy called Pete Dye. He's an awesome golf course designer, very, very sought after, and his courses are among some of the best around. So he designed Southern Hills. So it's an awesome, awesome layout, very, very hard, as you would expect for a Pete Dye golf course. But as the name would suggest, Southern Hills Plantation, it really has that old South feel to it. So the homes have a certain look to them, very much the Southern elevation. But the thing that really stands out here are the amenities. The amenities are second to none for Hernando County. They have a gorgeous resort-style pool with a bar, restaurant there. They have a spa, gymnasium. And then the country club is also fantastic. I've also been up there for a ton of events. I've been up there for dinners, lunches. Food is fantastic. It's just a phenomenal community. I really, really love what they have going on in there. Now, Southern Hills was started around 2006, so that's right around the time of the market crash. So it really took a long time to get going in there. Probably took the best part of 10 years before there was really any consistent building in there. I remember for years and years and years, there were only 150 homes in there, but it's really exploded with the market pickup over the last 4 or 5 years. And I love visiting the models in there. They have the best model homes in Hernando County, and the finish and the level of the build and construction there is just absolutely top notch. Now, of course, you're going to pay for that. So you are considered inside of Brooksville city limits. So you do have that city tax. And you also have a CDD, which is a community development district. So just to wake up in that neighborhood is going to cost you a little bit of money. But if you are looking for the best of the best, then Southern Hills is definitely where you might want to check out. Now, there's about 1,600 acres with around 1,050 home sites. It's gated, it's guard gated. So really, really high-end security in there as well. The homes are going to go from 1,650 square foot up, right? I've been in 4,000 or 5,000 square foot homes in there. Price is going to range from the high 380s all the way up to 2 million, 2.5 million, but the average is going to be around 650, somewhere around there. And because it's a community that's really experiencing a growth boom at the moment, there's a lot of new construction in there. So if you're into new construction, this might be a great place to check out because the builders are also offering great incentives for closing cost concessions, for interest rate buydowns, for free money and upgrades. So definitely check out Southern Hills. We have plenty of our other videos that feature Southern Hills, and we can tell you a little bit more about that. But definitely should be on your radar if you're looking for a private community, a gated community, a golf course community, a community with a bunch of amenities, a community that features new construction. It checks off a lot of boxes. And then just switching speed slightly, I'm going to show another one on State Road 50, which is a little bit further. Again, this is to the west of downtown, but Brook Ridge. Now, people might say, oh, Brook Ridge is in Spring Hill, but it is Brooksville officially. So you're going to go west out here on State Road 50 till you get to the intersection of 589, and Brook Ridge is going to be right in here. Now, Brook Ridge is a 55 plus community. And it is mobile homes. So a lot of people use these for vacation homes, second homes, but there is also a big resident community in there who live there year round. But the affordability is what makes this so attractive to people. And there's a lot of new mobile homes in there, 2023, 2024 homes in there. But I want to just kind of go into it real quick. There's a golf course, a clubhouse. It's 55 plus. It's gated. It's close to everything because State Road 50 here has the hospitals, the stores, the restaurants, all right in here. So convenience-wise, man, down there, everything you need is right here. It's also close to Prime 88, which is a really, really high-end steakhouse, which is, I mean, comparable to anything in Tampa. So that's really, really cool. There are just over 2,300 homes in there. They range from 700 square foot to 1,500 square foot. And you can get deals in there starting pretty much around 100, 110,000. They're going to go up to about 250, 280, but typically you're going to find the average price point in there around 170, 160, something like that. Now, just be aware that certain ages of manufactured homes do not qualify for financing. So if it's 1975 or earlier, you're going to struggle to get financing on that. There is one lender out there who will finance, but it's not conventional. But that's a great option for someone who's looking to really stretch their dollar or just find something that's really low, relative comparable low cost for a vacation home. So definitely keep that on your radar. If that sounds interesting to you, reach out to us for more details. All right, guys, so you know I'm a foodie, right? So let's talk about some of the restaurants. And like I said already, State Road 50 is where you're going to find a lot of your chain restaurants. So you're going to have your Chili's, you're going to have Carrabba's, you got your Panera Bread, Chipotle, those sorts of places. They don't really get me excited, so I don't want to spend too much time talking about those. But there are some standouts as far as Prime 88. Like I said, this is really, really high end. This is comparable to anything down in Tampa, and it saves you the hour drive there and back. So definitely recommend reservations if you're going to be going here. But this is like a birthday, anniversary, special occasion type restaurant for us. This is the one we seek out first. Love it there. Really, really cool. And then a lot of my favorite restaurants are in downtown Brooksville or pretty close to there. So let me skip back over here. And I'm going to be talking about some really cool spots here. So, first of all, Taste of New Orleans on your way into town. This is as you might guess, a Creole New Orleans type place, gumbo, jambalaya, seafood boils. The owner is absolutely awesome. He'll sometimes play the saxophone in there, but it's just a real hole. I wouldn't say hole in the wall because that makes it sound like it's not nice, but it's a real hidden gem. A lot of people don't know about it, and it's just awesome. The food is fantastic. It's a really great atmosphere. So definitely check out Taste of New Orleans. And again, as you're driving into town here, Chop Block Grill, they get their meats from Hart's Meat Market, which is where I get my meats from. Really, really cool steakhouse. Not quite as high end, but more affordable than Prime 88 and a little closer to downtown. So if you're downtown, that might be a great option for you. And then Florida Cracker Cook Shack. So Florida Cracker is born in Brooksville. You'll see it spreading all over Florida at the moment, but it's born in Brooksville. So Florida Cracker Kitchen was the first one, which is a breakfast and lunch spot. And then they have the tap room right next to it there, which is their kind of brewery. So a couple of different places there for Florida Cracker Kitchen, but the Florida Cracker Cook Shack is their newest opening, and that is very much a cool like fried chicken, brisket, just down home Southern cooking for lunch and into the evening. They always have daily specials as well. So really, really cool. And then right opposite there is Good Time Brooksville, which is a new bar that's just opened up. They do mocktails and cool beer and wine. And inside of there, this is a local secret tip, is the ice cream bar. The ice cream bar is a local homemade ice cream place. James and Rebecca are fantastic. We love them. We do a lot of events with them and partner up with them. Their ice cream, quite frankly, in my opinion, is the best around. Always doing seasonal flavors using local produce and partnering with local businesses. So the ice cream bar, check them out. It's phenomenal. And then as we get further into downtown, you're going to have the bistro in here. One of the coolest buildings in Brooksville. Definitely worth going there for lunch or dinner just to check out the building. Main Street Eatery has been around just forever. An awesome lunch place right opposite the courthouse there. And then Coney Island Drive-In is a real historic local legend place. Foot-long hot dogs, awesome fish sandwiches, believe it or not, but really, really worth checking out. It's kind of like this kitschy, cool little local place. I love it. I'm sure you guys will too, so definitely check that out. And then I wouldn't be doing a service to local restaurants if I didn't mention Luigi's on the way in, which is a Italian place which has been around for 30, 40 years in Brooksville. So again, just like old school Italian, nothing fancy. It's like a home style cafe type feel, but just legit, unpretentious Italian food and cool pizza. So definitely check out Luigi's. All right, guys, so that's going to do it for the restaurants. But let me talk about some other cool things we have in Brooksville here. And I'm going to talk about little bars and breweries. So I did mention Good Time Brooksville, which is right on the way in opposite the Cook Shack. We also have in Brooksville, just opened recently, over the last 6 months or so. And that's going to be Broad Street Brewing. So Broad Street Brewing is right here. Good Times Brooksville is right here. And then we have Florida Tap Room right here. And then also the bistro is open late quite a few nights. So that's in here. So 4 places downtown. Again, if you're living downtown, these are all walkable. But Broad Street Brewing for me is a really cool place. First of all, because I live literally right here. So talk about being walkable. But on top of that, they're actually both local artists. So they try and meld brewing with art. So the inside of it's really, really cool. They always have really awesome stuff going in there as far as live music and other stuff like that. So their beer is phenomenal. They also have some cool non-alcoholic options. And the nice thing I like about it is that they nearly always have a food truck there. So you can kind of combine the food truck element with the local brewing, and it's just an awesome combination. I'm a food truck fiend, so for me, it checks all the boxes, and I love going down there and checking them out. And then as far as being a little bit further outside of downtown, but it is in Brooksville, although it's a bit of a hike. I want to make mention of it. So when you get, again, west here and you go all the way over to here, you are going to have Marker 48 Brewing. So Marker 48 Brewing was pretty much the original local brewery. It's really, really popular. They have a cool outside little beer garden area. They do quizzes, live music. Again, a ton of events going on here. A little bit more crowded. And again, like I said, definitely a little bit more out the way. I'm going to zoom out here. You won't be able to see the original thing, but you can see it's definitely a hike from Brooksville. But I did want to mention it because it's a really cool spot to go to and everybody locally knows where it is. So again, Marker 48 is a place you might want to check out. Okay, let's talk about parks and gyms real quick. So if you're a fitness fanatic like myself, you might want to know where some of these things are. So let's take a little dive in downtown here and we can talk a little bit more about some of them. So you can already see it on the map here. Tom Varn Park is one of them. They just finished building a new splash pad in there. They just renovated the kids' play area about a year or so ago. But they're going to have basketball courts here, softball fields. They have a walkable little walking trail with some ponds and stuff, which is really, really cute. They also have a little fitness thing that you can kind of do some pull-ups and step-ups and stuff on the way around it. So Tom Varn Park is a really cool place. My neighbor is actually Tom Varn's grandson, so that's kind of cool as well. So definitely check out Tom Varn Park, again, one of the local favorites. And then as I zoom in a little bit more here, we're going to see Hernando Park right here off of Fort Dade. So as you can see, amphitheater, playground, and picnic. So this is where Friday Night Live is going to be. Friday Night Live is a really cool local event where they have bands playing in the amphitheater. They have local vendors, they have food trucks, and there's a ton of other stuff goes on aside from just Friday Night Live. They have other food festivals and stuff like that here. They do have a kids play area. They have nice grassy areas. They have pickleball courts, tennis ball courts, tennis courts. So definitely check that out. Hernando Park is really, really a cool feature of downtown. Definitely recommend you check that out if you like your parks. And then the other places that I want to point out are going to be, excuse me, one second, down here. So Epic Health and Fitness is the gym that I'm a member of. So again, that's only about a 5-minute drive for me. It's right on the intersection of Broad Street and Cortez. So if you're a health fitness fanatic, you might want to check those out. But if you want something that is downtown, now this isn't a gym membership per se. You pay to go for one-on-one. So every time you go, basically you're getting a personal training session. But there is also a gym right in here by the water tower. So definitely be sure to check that out. It has the picture of it here. Of course it doesn't. I'm going to go right in here and show you in the parking lot. So this is the Brooksville Water Tower. It's actually a really, really funny story here about how that got sold when Bobby bought the gym. But this is it right in here. It's such a cool little business. Awesome owners. So definitely check them out as well. All right. Now, as I zoom back out here, I want to talk about a couple more little hidden gems here. So first thing is, be sure to check out the events downtown. I already mentioned Friday Night Live here at Hernando Park. Some of the other cool things they do is Brooksville Bites Night. So that was actually just last night, and they do that on South Brooksville Ave in this little section right here. So they're going to have local vendors, local food trucks, and some really cool stuff. And then a few times during the course of the year, they'll do specialist events. So they'll do the Watermelon Festival, Halloween Festival. They did Brunch Fest a little while back, and then that's going to expand into a few of the other streets around here as well. So always be sure to keep an eye out for local events downtown because they have them all the time. But they're either going to be typically at Hernando Park here, or they're going to be on South Brooksville Ave here. So definitely check those out. And then I want to talk about the Mermaid Trail. So you can go into you can go into the antique store here, Easy Street Home Decor, and they'll give you the map for the Mermaid Trail, where you can kind of walk around and try and find these mermaid plaques and mermaids and check them off the map. It's a really cool thing to do with kids, and because it's all walkable, it's right here. So definitely go into Easy Street Decor, get your map for the Mermaid Trail. And then if you like history and if you like haunted houses, check out the May Stringer House. So at Halloween, they turn this into a guided tour. This has actually been on Ghost Hunters before. It's rumored to be haunted, but it's such a historical building. Again, there's always stuff going on in here. You can do tours of it. They have special events. They have themed rooms at Christmas. But again, it's just a really, really cool thing in downtown Brooksville that they switch up from time to time for specialist seasonal events. And then finally, I want to talk about Westover's Flowers, which is right in here in the Malikila building. So it's a flower store, locally owned for years and years and years. It's where I get all my flowers from and get them delivered. Super friendly staff, and they do beautiful, beautiful arrangements. Again, they did the flowers for my wedding. And then if you're a budding pilot, Brooksville Airport, believe it or not, is actually very, very good. You wouldn't necessarily expect it because, it's Brooksville, for crying out loud. But actually, you can learn to fly at Brooksville Airport. I have several friends who have done so. I've actually considered doing it myself. So that is available. And again, it's kind of right on the doorstep there. Now, what about stores if you're living here? All right, let's talk about those real quick. So we do have a Publix store, which is going to be right on the corner of 41 and 50 here. So Publix is going to be right in here. So again, only a couple of miles outside of downtown. And if Walmart is more your speed, then Walmart Supercenter is right here as well. So you can do your grocery shopping here. If you're looking for some specialist places, then there's a couple of really, really good butcher stores. So I mentioned earlier on Hart's Meat Market is where I get a lot of my meats from. That's just here off of Horse Lake. So again, pretty close to downtown. It's kind of on your way back in, depending on where you're coming from. But if you're coming up on State Road 50, you can kind of come back in via Cortez, and it's right on your doorstep. And then there's actually a new butcher's just opened right in downtown Brooksville. So hopefully I'm not making you dizzy here going through this map, but it's actually right on the corner here, Central Florida Beef. So right downtown, and again, locally sourced and very, very cool and convenient to everything downtown. And then again, if you want to go to Target, the nearest Target is not a million miles away either. That's going to be a little bit further south, but it's on Spring Hill Drive here. Aerial Way. So this is Target right in here. It's right by Suncoast Parkway, the 589 toll road I was talking about before, and Spring Hill Drive. And as I zoom out here, you'll get a little reference as to where that's at in relation to everything. So a little bit further away, it's right in here. Apologies there. So downtown Brooksville here, and Target just over here. So about a 15-minute drive from downtown if you're a Target fanatic, which I know a lot of people are. All right, and then two final things I want to talk about, because we are in Florida, and so a lot of people out enjoy the outdoor life. So first of all, in Brooksville, there's a ton of cool stuff. So you can already see here the Good Neighbor Bike Trail. I spoke a little bit about Wivalacucci State Park. There's FLG X Adventure Course, so an outdoor kind of like rope place. There's Boyette's Grove, which is an outdoor attraction. If we zoom out a little bit further again here, I wonder if I can find it on the map quick enough. But there is the rope course out here as well. And then there's also the snow park, so Snowcat Ridge, which is only open for a few weeks of the year, but it has a downhill sled slope. It has an ice skating rink. It's a really, really cool thing, even though it's in Pasco County. But as we head west, this is where you're going to find Weeki Wachee Springs State Park. So this is the Mermaid Park. So look it up if you're not familiar with it. Buccaneer Bay and the Weeki Wachee Springs State Park. They still have live mermaid shows here. And it's a really, really cool day for the family or just for yourself to go and see this once. It gets very, very busy, so you might have to line up before it opens. But it's a true local staple. So it's pretty famous. It's amazing how many places I will go to in the US and tell them that I'm from Spring Hill, Brooksville, and then I'll mention Weeki Wachee, and they'll be like, oh, yeah, where the mermaids are. So that's really, really cool in itself. But then if you head a little bit further west here, we have Hernando Beach and Pine Island. So Pine Island is basically the local beach. It's a man-made beach. It's not the miles and miles and miles of white sands like you're thinking about for Clearwater and St. Pete Beach. That's about an hour and 15 hour and 20 minutes away. But to go watch a sunset, to spend a half a day, to not have to drive all that distance to go do it, Pine Island is going to be sufficient for most people. So when I first came here on vacation with my mom and my dad, we were looking for Hernando Beach, and we were looking for the beach in Hernando Beach, and we're asking locals to show us where it was, and they were giving us quizzical looks because there isn't one in Hernando Beach. So very, very unusual that they would call it Hernando Beach without having one. But regardless, there isn't one. But what they do have is they have some really, really cool fish restaurants, and then they do have the ability to rent kayaks, to rent boats, rent jet skis. You can do the Freaky Tiki boat ride where basically it will be captained for a few hours. You bring your own bottle and you can have some drinks on board. He has a bar area set up on there. And that's all going to be out of Hernando Beach. You can see they have some scuba stuff here, the Hernando Beach Club. So public boat ramp here if you have your own boat and you want to launch it out. So again, that's about 15, 20 minutes west. It's not a million miles away. So definitely be sure to check that out if you're a water enthusiast. And then Weeki Wachee Preserve is just hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of acres of preserve land. You can bike ride, you can walk, you can launch your kayaks and stuff inside of there as well. There's bird watching, there's camping, all sorts of stuff. You can see here hunting, fishing. So again, it took me honestly about 15 years of living here before I went there for the first time. Can't believe I didn't find it earlier, but it's awesome. Take advantage of it and make sure you go check it out. And then the final thing I want to mention here is the hospital, because again, that's going to be important to a lot of people. The hospital for Brooksville, or I should say the closest hospital for Brooksville, is going to be what was Brooksville Regional and is now Tampa General. So Tampa General have just taken over this hospital, and Tampa General have a phenomenal, phenomenal reputation. And so it's only going to get better and better. So from downtown, which is right in here, the hospital is right here. Now, unfortunately, I have had to be there a few times, both for myself and for family members, and it's always been top notch, like I said, and it's right on the doorstep, and it's only going to get better. So Tampa General Hospital is right here, just for those wanting to know. And then if you want to go to Tampa for more specialist treatment, there is Moffitt Cancer Center, which is one of the best cancer centers in the country. There's a great VA hospital down in Tampa as well. So again, all of those amenities not that far away.
Okay guys, so that's a wrap for the map view of Brooksville. I hope you found it useful. I love showing people around and telling them about my town, and I hope you got some value from it today as well. Like I said, we're local real estate experts and real estate nerds. If you have any questions about Brooksville, Spring Hill, Hernando Beach, Wesley Chapel, or the greater Tampa Bay area, be sure to reach out to us. We help hundreds of families per year make that move, and we'd love to answer your questions. Be sure to like the video, comment below, subscribe to the channel, and until next time, stay safe. I'm Ross Hardy from the Hardy team. It's time to love where you live.